What does an artist do when they are stuck or blocked? Come with me to my studio at the bottom of the garden and I'll tell you what I did and how it helped me find a way forward. You are part of this process. Making this video and talking to you is helping me to find new ways of working. Success is only available to those who turn up. I wondered why it occurred to me to make a video diary as opposed to writing things down, which is what I normally do. And the answer is these. These are supportive splints that they make for people who have arthritis in their hands, which of course is what I've got, which is one of the reasons why I have been daunted by coming and working in here, because so much of what I do is connected with using my hands, electronics, moving bits of wire, manipulating wire, etc. As well as, of course, painting and drawing and writing. I'm finding writing hurts my paws as well. So today I'm feeling cross, but determined. And that's because of deciding not to be a victim, but to take charge. One of my heroes is Cy Twombly, and it was his work that inspired me to make the Odd Bods. What he taught me was to make art that shows what you feel. I mean, this is one kind of art. There are lots of different kinds of arts, of course, but I particularly like the idea of making art that conveys a feeling. And therefore, I found myself thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to make some art that reveals my frustration and vulnerability because of heart issues and sore paw issues, these paws issues. So, that's it. I'm suddenly daunted by the size, as I envisage it, of what I want to do. So now I remember, make a maquette. And I like my materials mixed, in particular natural materials, so wood and wire and rope. I like those combos. So here I am back in the studio. And I was somewhat shocked to find that 10 days had passed since I was last down here talking to you. There is no doubt that I have been avoiding coming down here to some degree, and that was partly because my paws were sore, and that was partly because I'd spent some time up in my little office working on my website. I found that spending a couple of days on the computer keyboard did not agree with my paws. So that meant I was constrained in terms of what I could actually do down here. But more than just being physically constrained, there's actually a mental constraint. It's sort of like I won't be able to do it because it will hurt. And pain just has a real, as I'm sure many of you know, pain has a very constraining influence. If you know it's going to hurt, you just don't want to do it. So a lot of the time, in my case, it was fear, if you like, fear of pain. And I had to realise that the only way to overcome that was actually try. to do various things like banging nails in. Did that actually hurt? And such like. So anticipation of pain has been a factor. The other big factor for me is because I've got a bit of a heart thing, I get tired. And I don't think it's the heart thing that tires me, it's the medication I'm on to keep the heart in a nice steady rhythm. I think it's the medication, and it slows me up and tires me out, which in itself I find depressing, but I just have to adjust to that and adapt. But it is taking some time to adapt. And since I mentioned being depressed is not something I'm particularly familiar with. I'm a very positive, cheerful sort of person. I have been all my life. I've been blessed with that. But over the last few years, I've been much more, since the heart thing and the medication, really. Yeah, the arthritis is only a couple of years old, but the heart thing's been going on for about 8 years. And I realise just what an effect that's been having on me. Anyhow, being depressed is not only a state of being depressed, but I feel that I'm additionally depressed to be depressed, because this is not a normal state for me. So there you are. They're my emotional challenges at the moment, really. There is not one other big deal with all of this, and that is I lose my confidence because I can't do certain things now, or I get tired, and being tired means you lose your enthusiasm, or you don't actually even dream of doing something or think to do something. If you don't have energy, I lose my confidence anyhow. So that's another thing that deters me for coming down here and makes me feel daunted. So coming to the work itself and just get into making stuff. So I did just start, but I was losing sight of what I was trying to express, which was my current emotional state, in fact. So how do I express that in terms of this artwork? So I found I needed to reset myself. I'm always drawn to wheels. How can they be used to express my current feelings that I associate with them with exploring? I'm eternally curious. They suggest a constant change of scene. I mentioned the unknown is being attractive and drawing me in always. That's a curiosity. I always find movement in art appealing, so I tend to be drawn to kinetic art. Wheels give you a changing perspective. If you're on a train, your angle of view changes, so your perspective changes. But also, as wheels take you through time, your perspective changes just purely because time has moved on. I know from experience that if you're a bit stuck, the only way to get going is to actually do something, to make something. Doesn't matter how crap it is, it's just the making process. In particular, drawing. Drawing releases some creative aspect of self. So I thought, I rather like what happens when I draw with my left hand. I'll start with that, because the left hand is out of control and produces a loose drawing, which I tend to like. Just a step in a process of getting started. Well, that didn't really set me alight very much, so I decided I'll try other things. So then I thought, let's start with a maquette, and I thought I'll probably do an installation. So I looked at using that box, which I still might come back to, I thought, okay, if I don't use my hands, what other part of my body can I use? That's when I thought of blowing paint like our Indigenous folk do over their hands. And I thought, well, I'll do it over wheels and I'll blow the paint with my mouth. But of course, I didn't actually want to put paint in my mouth and ended up putting it in a spray bottle, which of course I have to operate with my hands. I find if I think about my art practice when I go to bed at night, sometimes the unconscious processes during the night, when I wake, often provide some wonderful insight. In this case, the wheels of my mind spun out in the morning as whirling dervishes. Those Japs who attain an altered state and perspective. A long bamboo cane held in my hand as I spin may lead to the art I seek to create.